Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K Now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next 2 hours, along with Spence.
Good morning. I can't talk. It's too cold.
Oh, you'll talk.
I'm so
And Mike is here.
And Mike is here.
Good morning.
Hello.
Our number is 919-518-9773. Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And this morning's show is made possible by vMix Software, Telestream's Wirecast software, and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear. Brr.
Stream some warm air over this way.
Yeah, I know. It would be so nice if I still had the older machine, the HP Xeon.
Oh, because it
Heater.
warms the room up.
It was really blowing hot air. This one is not doing it.
I actually try. I have a little one of those oil.
Wait, hold it a second. People are saying no Amnon's audio on where? Oops, wait a second. Why is this over there?
I'm assuming on the stream.
Yeah, I'm seeing just one channel going out on YouTube. Why is that? You guys carry on. Let me go and see what it is. Oh, but I can't check it. Because when you talk...
Check your aux send. Make sure that your aux send is turned up on your microphone.
It is. I mean, why would I see just one channel? I mean, you know, on the DB display, when you talk, I see the two channels. When I talk, I see only one channel.
Okay, it could be a crummy connector. It could be the balance control on the channel that needs to be touched.
Yeah. All right. So you carry on and I'll...
Amnon, just move your mouth up and down and we'll fill it with words for you.
We'll do one of those YouTube videos where we supply the sound for this apparent speech.
Oh, some of them are funny. Well, so the big story this week has been very interesting. The tech story, anyway. I listened to Steve Gibson's podcast last weekend when he was talking about it. And it really, I mean, the story was out there, but it really, the implications of it and the reaction to it really hadn't firmed up yet. And I still don't see that much on the mainstream media about it.
About what?
About the Spectre and Meltdown exploits that are part of all processors are subject to Meltdown, and many processors are subject to Spectre. And apparently it's been known since June that this was out there, and people have been patching, or companies have been patching it, but there really isn't any good way to patch it. And what federal agency that came out and said, NSA came out and said the only way to fix it is to replace all processors, all. Like,
see, I don't even know what you're talking about.
There's an exploit that was
Mike, you're kidding, right?
What?
You're kidding, right?
No, I've been out, Amnon.
There's a let me go to, I'll get a brief on it here. I'll open up something here.
And we were talking before going on the air about Skype updating. Not only did it update, it lost all of its icons. It's the
Yep.
new Skype is really bizarre.
It is very bizarre.
I wonder if they put back in the command line switches. Ha 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 ha.
I just don't understand where and how these designers of Microsoft are thinking.
Or not.
Or exactly not. I mean, no, what do you call them? Recent. You have to keep looking at everything. You can't just look and find out who you were talking with most of the time. So you have a small list. Now there's just one list, the whole thing. I mean, I did it a couple of weeks ago and went right back. Said, no, I'm not going to keep this. This is ridiculous.
Yes, you are too.
And I reinstalled the older one. There's absolutely no sense behind it.
They did add a couple of good things to it that I've seen so far since I've been playing with it.
Okay, tell us.
You know how you have to, the way you close Skype, you have to go in and right click the icon and do quit instead of close.
Oh, you mean down at the bottom?
Anywhere. Anytime you exit Skype, it stays running.
Yeah, unless you go in the sys tray, and you right click on it and say quit, then it closes.
Right. Are you broadcasting now? Are you going out?
Yeah.
What was the problem?
I went to the meter. Well, now I'm seeing both channels now. I went to the meter.
Are you guys hearing me? I'm on the stream.
Are you guys hearing me on the stream?
Well,
let me hear it over here. I'll tell you if I'm on the stream. Yeah, I'm on the stream.
yeah,
Why?
okay,
Is somebody
they got you.
saying no?
Yeah, they're saying they hear you.
Okay.
So
all I did is I played with the switch on the meter itself. You know, the bar, or it has two different options on that to show the whole bar coming up, or just the
you
strength.
need to spray a little deoxit in there after the show.
And then I heard a ding dong, like USB came on, and it both channels are on. Yes, so I don't know.
Okay.
This happened a long time ago. Also, so yeah.
They've also changed the location of Skype. It's now Skype for desktop under Microsoft programs. Microsoft Skype for desktop.
Yeah, because now they have two Skypes. They have the one that's built into Windows 10, or you can go and download what they call desktop, the full Skype, supposedly. I mean, they had that for some time, I think since 8. They had the built-in one and the desktop one. So it's as little as I use it here. I really need to start using Vmix Call for people that want to come in as guests, but I'm going to try and hold off. I mean, remember in the early days we used to hold off for a long time until Microsoft said, "Okay, as of this version, it's not going to work anymore." Remember?
Yeah, but then they're smarter than that. They figured out ways to force it not to work.
Well,
and they're famous for they and Google are famous for that crap. So I'm playing with it now to see if the switches have been put back as they should have been. Dummies. It used to be perfect. You could have 3 instances going. You could have an icon to start each instance that remember the username and password, and in their brilliance, they removed that.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I don't understand. They must have some kind of a strategy behind it to do something. I keep on hoping that somebody else will come up with a better product that will be friendlier and but I guess it's a big to do. It's not trivial. So yeah, but it forced it on you, right? And you're trying to figure it out.
Well, I don't know that it forced it on me. I always update. I just quit fighting.
Yeah.
If it gets so bad that I can't use it, I just won't use it. I'm like you. I don't use it much more anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what you need to do is you need to go and download the previous one. So
then for a month or 2 months or 3 months, I'm using the previous one. Then they force it on me. Then all I've done is postpone the inevitable.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I mean,
now.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
So what is this? So I mean, I might as well go ahead and get used to it because right now I don't use it as much. If I put it off, then what'll end up happening? I'll end up having to learn it and fight with it at a time that I need it.
Yeah. Hey, Spence?
Yes.
Oh, you're there.
No, I was trying to gobble down the last of my breakfast here.
I thought you were going to get that, but for the two the Meltdown and Spectre, Mike, they have a problem that they found out in CPUs since the 90s.
Yes, basically all CPUs.
Yeah. Not
ARM, Intel, and AMD.
Yep, all of them.
Yep.
So Google posted, and to make a long story short, a lot of people say that, since Intel cannot patch those CPUs, it's hardware, Microsoft was going to do something to the operating system to compensate.
They did.
And
we've already sent a patch out for Windows 10.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, but it does not cover all instances or exposures. If you use Chrome, and I'll put a link up in the chat.
Well,
you need to turn on some features in Chrome.
Yeah, they're saying that they will do all the operating system down to 7 and all that. But the talk in the beginning, Mike, was that patch is going to slow machines from anywhere from 15 to 30%. And
they're just trying to be like Apple.
Well, a lot of people say, what a strategy to sell i9s. But what happened is, when was it? Last week, I think it was Thursday, Ron was telling me, he said, we need to reboot one of the servers that are on Linode because they already patched all the servers. And that fixed it, supposedly. But there's a story here about Google's online security blog that said that 2 engineers posted and described a chip-level patch that has been deployed across the company's entire infrastructure, resulting in only minor declines in performance in most cases. The company also posted details of the new technique called Retpoline in the hopes that other companies will be able to follow the same technique. If the claims hold, it would mean Intel and others have avoided the catastrophic slowdown that many had predicted. There has been speculation that the deployment of KPTI causes significant performance slowdowns. That's the one from Microsoft. And they said that the kernel page table isolation technique performance can vary as the impact of KPT mitigations depend on the rate of system calls made by an application. That's what it's slowing down. System calls. So on most of our workloads, the Google guy said, including our cloud infrastructure, we see negligible impact on performance. Of course, Google recommends thorough testing and environment and blah, 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 blah. And then the next story goes that Thursday, Microsoft, on Thursday, they said that Microsoft is issuing a rare out-of-band security update to supported version of Windows. The software update is part of a number of fixes that will protect against the newly discovered processor bug in Intel, AMD, and ARM chipsets. Sources familiar with Microsoft plans tell The Verge that the company will issue a Windows update that will automatically apply to Windows 10 machines at 5 p.m. Eastern. So it was already done. The update will also be available for older and supported versions of Windows today. But systems running operating system like Windows 7 or Windows 8 won't automatically be updated through Windows Update until next Tuesday. Windows 10 will be automatically updated today, which was Thursday. So for Windows 7 and 8, you'd have to wait until they come up with the regular, with Tuesday updates.
So this problem's been there for 30 years, and now I'm
Yeah.
supposed to panic that I have to wait to Tuesday.
Yeah.
Okay.
That reminds me of a joke, but never mind. Yep.
Speaking of
That's
jokes,
right.
wait till you play with Skype.
Yeah. It's now the thing is, I don't think anybody should panic. Really. I
Over
mean,
something that's been there 30 years.
it's been there 30 years, and it's true. Now the hackers and the bad people know about it, so they may start taking advantage of it somehow. But that takes development of something to do and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know that it's like, whoa, we need to fix it quick. No, give it time.
Okay, the command line switches don't work on Skype.
Oh. So what else did you see that was good in it? Right on top of your head.
That's all so far. There are a couple of options of things that you want to do that I don't remember what they were. Very subtle things that are really probably put in there to make them more line up with the business product, so they don't have as much of code base to maintain. Would be my guess.
Yeah.
So is there anything of the original Skype purchase that's still there, or have they completely diluted the whole thing?
Well, they're still charging my account.
No, but I mean, I remember going through, I was cleaning my desk out, and it was interesting, cleaning out my files here, and I found a class brief that I had taken on Microsoft competitive analysis, because we offered at the time, this is 2015, Avaya offered a competitor. They were a partner at one time, Microsoft, with Nortel, and they essentially stole the code for the type of products that we had. It was a calculated risk that they took, and Microsoft wound up coming up with their own product. And then when they bought Skype, suddenly now we had been a partner with Skype, and now we were adversaries. So we had to go through competitive analysis training. It was very interesting, but the mission was always not, it could care less about the average Skype user. All they wanted was to mainstream them into Link and other Microsoft giant cloud services. So the advantage to the average user were going to be muddled and over time taken away. It's kind of scary. And once they start charging the casual user for Skype, that'll be the death of it. So, but no, remember when Amna, remember we were talking about a good alternative to Skype? What was the thing that Param had recommended?
I don't remember.
Yeah, it was a competitive product. It was actually pretty nice. I don't know if they ever got anywhere, but
The
yeah.
only one that I remember that we were using, Mike, it was Blink.
Right, that's a SIP client, and
Yeah.
and they're it's good. It's definitely a lot better than it used to be, but nothing totally compares with Skype yet. If Skype did not exist, I would probably be proposing, and we were using it. I would propose that we all get Bria SIP client and use their video and audio, because they do have 1080p video now.
Bria was excellent. That was actually the company that Avaya and Nortel partnered with to develop their own client, because
Yeah.
Bria had such a good client.
Counterpath.com. Blink, unfortunately, is not reliable anymore.
I mean, there are programs like services like Zoom that people are using, but it's still 4x3. So for broadcasters to use it on the air, it's not widescreen, so it looks funny, but it's for corroborating between people and talk about it works fine. And there's some others that can do that. Even Appear.in can do that. But as far
we
as
should start our own, and I have a perfect name for it. We'll call it Clunk.
No, but a utility like Skype that you install on the computer, and I have no idea which one you're talking about, Spence. I'm trying to think.
It might have been Zoom.
But Zoom is well, yeah, you do install something on your machine.
Yeah, I have a Zoom account.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was Zoom.
For 2 more years.
919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype.
Oh, I put the Chrome patch up there, and the patch for Chrome. The issue with Chrome is that if you are at a site, and say it's a site that you have a saved password, or just go in and log in, if you have another window open and that other window open is exploited, they can do cross-window gathering of information. So what this does is it turns on something called secure site isolation, and each window or each browser window is open as a separate entity from a memory perspective. So there's less chance of being one data can be stolen from one site to another. There are, however, hazards. It actually raises the use of Chrome memory, which was not great to start with, 10 to 20%. It says printing cross-site for iframes will be blank. I don't know what that means, but it says to print the entire page, save the page to your computer, then open and print the saved file. That could be a pain in the neck. And it says that the last one isn't important. But I turned it on this browser, but I'd have to reboot or restart the browser for it to take effect. I won't do that now. But I'm going to listen to Steve Gibson's podcast, this last one that dropped, because I know he was going to go into more detail as more information came out, to see what is the real status of things. The hazard with listening to that podcast is they'll talk about an exploit, and it will be, no, they don't get breathless about it, but they'll talk about how serious it is, and then they realize that, well, this really doesn't affect all that many people, because it's like for one exploit they talked about. This is a while back. They said that, this is such a serious exploit, but the only way it would affect you is if somebody was connected to you locally on Ethernet.
Yep.
So it's like, well, how is that a problem for home users? So I don't understand it.
I did find one thing I like about Skype so far, at least one workaround. Everything is in, like Amnon is saying, is in one stream, one thread, and you have to figure out how to sort it and how you want it to look. and we have private groups that we use Skype to chat during the week, other than the show. The problem is that the name of that group, it looks just like I have Nick in here as a contact in Skype, and the name of the group looks just like a person, which is what it is to Skype. Whenever you sort the contact list by time, the most recent person that you talked with is at the top of the top of the list. Well, it'd be nice to be able to keep that group at the top so that it doesn't move around. If somebody's in it, you'll see it at the top. And as far as the individuals with whom you talk, you can, like, for example, I haven't messaged with Amnon on Skype since December 17th. And so that's moving down towards the bottom of the page because of timing. But anyway, the private group, I right-clicked on it out of curiosity, and it allowed me to pin the chat to the top. So at least now I can then treat them like folders in Windows and cause them to stay at the top of the sort. And we'll see if that's useful, but that seems to me to be useful.
All right. Well, maybe you'll figure out ways that we can.
Well, you can't fight City Hall. I mean, you either use it or you don't use it. I've checked so far. I've done all the checking that I know to do on the command line switches, and I am unable to find them working, at least under the old system. If they have been reinstated under a different code base, then I'm not aware of it. And for one reason, somehow it asked me to, I logged out of Skype to try to see if that was fooling the command line switches. It asked me to rate Skype, and I did. Boy, I gave it 1 star, and it said, what's the problem? I said, you need to put command line switches back. Yeah, and I'm sure they're going to get busy on that, and it'll probably be ready this week. Why would you get rid of that?
Because they don't think of it. They don't sit back and say, how would those affect our customer? Because they're not really monitoring their customers. I don't believe it.
I believe they figured it's going to take an extra $3 to maintain it, and if they don't like it, go use something else where it's not like we're charging for it. And oh, by the way, I'll tell you what let's do. Let's just tell them it's a security flaw.
Well, which comes down to they don't care.
No.
If they cared, they would do something about it. And they'll be forced to do something begrudgingly because public opinion will turn against them. And that is not the way to run a company.
But the good news is we're opening up the opportunities for a bunch of people to get rich just by providing customer service.
Yep.
The fear is that business, unfortunately, is the way it is for a reason. And the fear is that, let's suppose that we started our own company that was a Skype replacement. If we are like politicians, we go to Washington, we fall into the swamp, we become one of the swampers. And I'm afraid that if you got into the business, that you would certainly adopt the habits of these non-caring companies for the same reasons that they adopted them, and that is you're understaffed and more concerned about 1 quarter profits than you are about long-term success of the company. Since you're an employee, you're probably going to get screwed by the company and leave within 5 years anyway. So why worry about how it looks 10 years from now? How's that for an optimistic approach?
So
you don't have to answer all at one time.
The build a better mousetrap and they'll beat a path to your door theory is
no. You build a better mousetrap and they'll use it to beat you to death.
That's it. Yep. They'll come and they'll pretend to be your friend and stick the knife in your back.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
So by the way, Meltdown as an exploit only affects Intel processors. Spectre affects all of them. Intel.
All right. So what is it we need to be afraid of?
Well, it is an architectural flaw, meaning between the actual programming and the kernel itself, the way the information is passed back and forth between the processor and higher functions in the operating system is not secure.
Okay, so what's the vulnerability? What do I need?
Vulnerability is all information that goes between the operating system and the processor is wide open. And if you can figure out how to exploit that, you can go in and read it. But the point is that you have to know, how hard will it be? How do you know what information is passing at what moment, and how is it mapped to something that actually gives you an advantage. So it says here that Meltdown affects Intel processors and works by breaking through the barrier that prevents applications from accessing arbitrary locations in kernel memory. It's supposed to be segmented, but it's not. Segregating and protecting memory spaces prevents applications from accidentally interfering with one another's data or malicious software from being able to see and identify it. Meltdown makes this fundamental process unreliable. Spectre affects Intel, AMD, and ARM processors, broadening its reach to include mobile phones, embedded devices, and pretty much everything with a chip in it. It works differently from Meltdown. Spectre essentially tricks applications into accidentally disclosing information that would normally be inaccessible, safe inside the protected memory area. This is a trickier one to pull off, but because it's based on established practice of multiple chip architectures, it's going to be even trickier to fix. So Amnon was right before about not crawling in a hole and pulling the lead cover over your head yet, because there are still have to figure out ways to actually exploit this. It's there, it's in the open now, and now it'll be. How did it come out, Amnon? Who actually revealed this? It was June. It was June.
Yeah, security person somewhere. I don't remember now. But apparently they knew about it for some time now, and now the story is beginning to go, yeah, Intel CEO sold millions of shares before the end of last year. You know, but, who knows?
He got rid of 90% of his stock.
Intel's not going anywhere.
I mean, they took a dive.
They're not going.
They'll come.
They're not going to go anywhere. But it's just every so often the swarmy part of this is exposed, and you get to see what's really going on. And then they go back to the marketing people painting an image of the wonderful company.
They're too worried about global warming and diversity and things when they ought to be designing chips.
Yep. Oh, I was very happy. Did anybody watch The Wisdom of the Crowd?
Never heard of it.
It's a TV show about a tech entrepreneur, a la Facebook-like guy, whose daughter gets murdered, and he quits his job, gives his company away, and creates this artificial intelligence thing that lets people all be involved in investigations. It is one of the most. First of all, it's an interesting show, but they do such an unbelievable disinformation campaign, but wonderfully, after throwing things at the television as I watch it, to say that's not true, that's just a complete falsehood, it's canceled. But what was the point of what I was saying? But there's so much disinformation out there about technology. If it comes from television shows being misrepresented, capabilities being overstated, or capabilities being understated. It all depends on what the show is trying to do, and what type of political message they're trying to do. Unfortunately, the message is more important than the actual entertainment product. I think that was what I was trying to say, is that the entertainment industry, you had it for a very long time, but now you've got it in business, where it's not the end product anymore. It's how supposedly politically correct. And one of their episodes talked about the guy who published the diversity document over at Google and was subsequently fired over it. And they completely misrepresented what this guy was saying and said, oh yeah, this is the guy that was, hated women and wanted to shut them out of the workplace, when he wasn't saying that at all. He was trying to expose the fact that even inside this so-called diverse culture, there's still this crap going on, and you need to address it. And they just attack the messenger. So it's amazing.
And what was the name of the show?
The Wisdom of the Crowd. Jeremy Piven was the actor who was the lead.
Oh my God, Nick is here.
He's embroiled in the whole sexual harassment thing, so they think that's why it got canceled. Because
And where did you watch it?
it's on regular network television.
Oh, that's why I've never heard of
It's
it.
still out there. I mean, they put out, I don't know how many episodes it was. If you look at it as a procedural cop show, which because they're working with police, it's interesting. But if you look at it from technology and from how realistic is this, and what are they trying to tell you? Yeah, you won't like it.
People think we're just mouthing off when we say it, but if you look at it and you observe these sort of things and realize that typical news media reporters, the mainstream media, these quote unquote reporters are not very educated. They are technically illiterate. They have an agenda and they have no moral compass to keep them on the right road. So if you consume that information, you need to do so at your own risk. If you blindly accept it, then you are subject to being punked. Case in point, this new book by Wolf, you heard about this?
Oh, yes.
The guy, I had just heard about it yesterday, but the guy supposedly had amazing access to the White House, and he's talking about Trump lays in bed all but 4 hours a day eating cheeseburgers or something like that.
And watches gorilla TV 17 hours a day.
Right.
Right.
Right. And it claimed to have a 3-hour meeting with Trump, and it's just all so silly. What happened was, and I heard this actually. Once this guy was onto his scheme up there, it turns out the staff at the White House knew exactly what he was up to, and they just punked him right and left. They loaded him up with the most ridiculous stuff so that when his book was published, it would stand for itself as being stupid. They just loaded him up, and they probably, I haven't and won't read it, but I don't. They probably got Trump in the black of an SR-71 Blackbird rushing over to France and back to pick up the nuclear suitcase he left over there, or some. What was that they accused Bush of?
That was negotiating to try to delay the release of the hostages with the Iran crisis, when the Iran hostage crisis until Reagan was inaugurated. That's what they accused them of doing to embarrass Carter.
They punked him right and left. I mean, they just played right. This guy's just played right into it. And of course, the media, they're just sucking it up. I mean, the Conspiracy News Network. I mean, we had NBC on last night for some reason, and the lead story. It's just hilarious.
You know what's funny about this is that you wondered why. I saw people actually questioning, well, why would Trump come out and say they're going to do a cease and desist and say this book should be taken off the market? He said, because they want you to read it. They want to put it out there because they did exactly as you say. They filled it with all this crap information. It just makes people's heads explode, and they go off in a different direction. Look, there's a squirrel over there, and they're doing something else. So they're just been punked again, which is amazing. And
well, it's about time our side did it. The other side's done it to us, like a finely built watch.
Oh yeah, the Rhino Republicans are just so easily duped.
Well, Nick, you don't have to say anything. I guess he's listening to Alex Jones.
Oh, the wisdom of the crowd. They went to task against him, too. They had a guy look just like him.
There he is.
They had a white supremacist storyline that was just so over the top, ridiculously exaggerated. Yeah, it was something.
Hello?
Alex Jones.
Can you hear me now?
Loves Alex Jones.
You can't.
Can't hear you. You look like a mouse.
Good morning, Nick.
You hear me now?
It's very low.
Very low.
Well, nobody else talk. We'll just sit here.
Now it's fine.
It's getting finer.
It's just too cold there. It has to wait until the mixer gets warm.
I had a ground loop, so I changed all my audio last night. So I guess that's why.
You're on ground loop.
The electrons are moving too slow over there, Nick. You had to let them warm up.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
So does anybody here, as much as I dislike the mainstream media,
We're talking about Alex Jones?
What?
We're talking about Alex Jones?
Yeah, we're done with Alex.
Oh, man.
So as much as I dislike them, there is one show that NBC does that I really like. I've watched probably 100 of them in the last year. It's called Dateline NBC. They have it on multiple networks. It's on regular NBC. They also have it on OWN, which is Oprah Winfrey Racist Network. They have it on ID. I don't know what that is. There are just numerous cable channels where they have these shows where they have recycled the good ones. They really do seem to be apolitical. I've noticed that Keith Morrison and Mankiewicz, whatever, they to their credit, they keep the politics out of it. I've yet to identify them trying to make a point, but I watched one yesterday that was about John McAfee. And I wish there were a way to save it and put it somewhere for you to watch it, because anybody who knows about McAfee antivirus software ought to watch the one about John McAfee. He is such a kook.
Oh, he's Mr. Conspiracy, alien, tinfoil hats, aliens living in the planet Earth. Just crazy.
They darn near nailed him for murder.
Yep. Oh, I think he did it.
You think so?
Yeah.
Interesting. What makes you think he did it? Well, see, there you go.
It's just the impression you get when you listen to the story. You see his responses. You're like,
impressions. You do it on evidence.
You do, but you do it. Everybody has their impression. What it's designed to do is to make an impression on you somehow. I wouldn't be a good jury member because I just think he's batshit crazy.
There is no question he's crazy, but that doesn't make him a criminal.
No.
The people that they're convicting on that show with terrible evidence ought to scare you to death. It's just like the Roy Moore thing that and this is not this part is not political. The part that a friend of mine says, "Aren't you glad that child molester lost the election?" And I said, and this was a lawyer's wife. I said, "Wait a minute. How do you know he's a child molester?" "Oh, well, I believe what people said." I said, "Is that the standard of evidence now, that a bunch of people said it and therefore he's a child molester, a major felony like that? Doesn't it not concern you that you're devolving into a society where anyone wants to accuse your son of molestation? If 2 or 3 people think he did it, he's guilty and goes to prison for life? That ought to scare you to death. How about let's getting the evidence?" Oh, no.
That doesn't work like that anymore.
He's guilty. Okay. You're giving up your freedom.
All right. Let's kind of switch a little bit here. The FCC now is trying to change the rules about what's considered broadband. Right now, it's 25 down and, I don't know, 5 up or something like that. But under the new proposal, any area able to obtain wireless speeds of at least 10 megabits down, 1 megabit up, would be deemed good enough for American consumers, preempting any need to prod industry to speed up or expand broadband coverage. Now, yeah, we can say, oh, you see, now they're going to screw it up and people are going to get slower speed. I don't see it that way. If an ISP is trying to go to a small town and lay down an infrastructure that will allow them to have 25 down or whatever, and it just they don't have the budget to do it in that small town where they're not going to get any return on their money right away. Let's put it this way, right away. So they don't go there. Because before, if they went there and they say, you know what, we can bring in a fiber channel that will allow people to have 5 megabits down or 10 megabits down. Oh, no, you can't. You have to do it 25. Oh, then we don't go. And that town stays without internet. I would think that lowering the speed, the required speed, here's an ISP now can go into that town, install, and they can even do it on wireless. Now, in wireless, to get higher and higher speed is a lot harder than to do it on cable. And they can do it. Now, these people will have, look, 10 megabits down, 1 megabit up for somebody that has dial-up. Oh, man, this is lightning speed. And they can start like that. And, of course, if they want to make more money later on, they start upgrading and updating and getting more speed. But at least the people in that town now have internet. What's wrong with that? Why am I looking at it the wrong way? Mike, Spence?
I was involved at one point in the rural internet expansion project from a kind of a advisory. It wasn't really an advisory role. It was just because I was involved in the local branch office here in North Carolina, and they were looking for proposals to carry high-speed internet out to local rural areas.
Right.
We got involved in just trying to lay out a technology picture. They're asking all the big vendors to contribute to it. And then one guy that I used to work with actually went to work for the federal government as a guy implementing this stuff. And there's unfortunately an attitude out there about, if you can't instead of making, it's this whole net neutrality misnomer, is that it's not fair if you can get 300 meg for $59 a month and I can only get 5 meg, even though it costs me $25 a month. It doesn't matter. It's not fair. So everybody should be limited and taken down to 5 meg a month, 5 meg throughput, because who are you to have more than me? And that attitude has been fostered.
Yeah,
in
but
some ways.
But I mean, as far as allowing a company to come in with lower speed, just that so that the town can have something. If the FCC changes it from 25 to 10, I see it as a positive step.
Oh no, I do. I mean, this is a difference now in the way they're talking about it, because now, before it was, you won't do that because you're deliberately shaming these people to say that you're not good enough to get 25, so we'll give you 10. That's the old attitude. The new attitude is, just give me something faster than I have now, because that's all that's technically feasible and economically feasible at this time. So what's wrong with that? That it's the attitude was before that it was all about feelings. It was all about seriously. It was about, oh, well, you don't want to make them, a person chooses to go someplace like in Alaska where there is no internet connection, and yet the government feels like it's their role to force some carrier to come in and spend a great deal of money to somehow get that person a connection. It's like, no, the guy chose to live off the grid. Too bad. So it's a refreshing thing to see a change, to say, hey, life is not fair. It's not where you can say, I'm sorry, but you can't have that luxury because this guy can't afford it. This is a big change, and I don't see any. I'd say whoever wants to bid and come in and offer a product that they can sustain and make things even just incrementally better than it was before, go for it.
Right. I mean, if somebody is really, really, really thirsty and there's no water around, you come and you give them an ounce of water, Wow. Thank you. Go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry.
No, I was just whining. That's not fair.
Oh,
Yeah. What was it? Something in the news just recently, and I can't remember what the story was, but it was about the tax cuts. How some people are only getting $1,000, and all these smug city dwellers, $1,000, that's nothing. That's nothing. That's like, yeah, for you it's nothing, but for the person who's making $30,000 a year, $1,000 is a big deal. It might pay off a credit card. It's like you just look down your noses at people. You don't even realize how offensive that is to people who don't have. It's just this attitude. It's just the world revolves around me, and I'm the norm. When you're really you're the anomaly.
yeah. Another thing that's interesting is back to the iPhone. After apologizing to customers for slowing older iPhones down as the batteries degrade, Apple has started offering battery swaps for $29. This has led to some confusion as Apple did not clarify how it qualified batteries as eligible for the discount replacement, as the Apple Genius Bar uses a diagnostic test to check whether a battery can retain 80% of its original capacity at 500 complete charge cycles. According to Mac Rumors, Apple has confirmed that they will replace the battery if your iPhone 6 or later. So they will replace it, even if it passes a Genius Bar diagnostic test. So if you have a 6 or later, you can go to the Apple Store and get a battery replaced, whether the battery is good or not, whether it passes the test or doesn't.
For $29.
For $29.
That's an expensive battery.
It's what?
That's an expensive battery.
Well,
What's normally 100?
Yeah, I'm going to pay that.
Well, what's your other option?
The local guy does them.
Okay.
$29.
Well, local guy isn't available in every area. The Apple Store was the only place in my area that would do it.
Oh, I'm not sure that's true.
I called all the cell phone repair stores. They said they didn't service Apple. They didn't serve. They did screen repairs. They didn't do battery repairs on the iPhone.
Yeah, I'm not saying that what you found out is not true, but I don't. And you're talking about Albany or Wilmington?
No, this was in Albany when I was getting this done over a year ago.
There's so many of them around here, and it's so easy to do. I find that shocking.
I was surprised to hear that there was a big business replacing batteries. I almost thought it was, not that it wasn't technically feasible, but I thought it was something that Apple just didn't, they discourage people from doing.
Well, yeah, they want you to throw your phone away and buy a new one.
yeah.
Yep.
Amnon, before we go into specials, did you get that information I sent you on the Vietnam fella?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. And I sent it on.
Okay.
Yep.
I'll tell you what I'm talking about here. Not that we need to go into it. It's just curiosity. I became aware of a book that a local fellow wrote about his experience getting his family out of South Vietnam after the fall to North Vietnam. I just put the link in chat. Absolutely fascinating book. It was hard to put down. It's an easy read. If I was eligible for the draft in that in the year that my number came up for the draft, my number came up, which was number 66, which meant that I had only about 100% chance of going into the military to be drafted. And they ended the draft that year, so I was not called into service. If I had been, I would have gone, and who knows what would have been different. But thankfully, I didn't have to go into it. But if you have any issues about should the United States have been in the Vietnam War, and this book doesn't answer that. It's just a perspective. But if you're curious as to whether the United States should have been in the war, what were these people really up to? Who are our friends? Who are our enemies? And should you really have a meltdown over whether your iPhone battery doesn't hold up towards the last hour of the day, you might want to read this book and realize why people say that's a first world problem. When you read the book, you'll find out what a real third world problem is, and it's good. I highly recommend it.
We have a third world problem right here in North Carolina.
What, Roy Cooper?
No.
Duke
Energy.
Well,
yeah.
What's the problem with Duke Energy?
I mean, the power. It's ridiculous.
I have power.
Yeah, I know. I mean, we have power, but it goes out.
And the biggest cause of outages is squirrels. There's a problem.
Well, that's. I happen to have some insight on that problem back when they were what were they after CP&L? Progress?
Yeah, Progress Energy. Yeah.
Which are now Duke.
Yeah, now it's Duke Progress or whatever.
Right. So mine kept going out periodically, and of course you call and they give you the kiss off. And I finally went to the Utilities Commission. I said, you know what? I said, I have a theory here. The theory here is that they are not doing the level of maintenance that they represent to you that they are. This lack of maintenance is causing them to come back to you for rate increases that they're not entitled to because they use the outage problems as fodder for getting rate increases. You give them the rate increases and then they don't go fix the problems. Well, let me see what's going on here. So eventually and I talked about this when it happened. I got a call from somebody over there and they said, okay, what seems to be the problem? And I went through my litany with them again. They, to their credit, actually sent somebody out working on it. And guess what they found? They found a squirrel screen that had been chewed through, and they were getting repetitive instances of squirrels jumping into the contactors and blowing the breakers.
And blowing themselves up, too.
Of course. They deep fat fried instantly.
Yep.
They repaired it, and the problem went away for about 2 years. So you're correct. It is a lack of maintenance on their part.
Yeah.
Well, that goes up the chain. It's just the other vulnerabilities from a network perspective too are staggering. That we haven't had a cascading meltdown of the system.
Well, we will
It's
sooner or
interesting.
later.
When I was up in Alaska, there was a story about a local Air Force base that was a radar site for looking for threats, and they were getting an upgrade, hundreds of millions of dollars upgrade to the radar. But one of the big upgrades they were getting was an upgrade to their power plant because it needed to be hardened so that it wasn't susceptible to electromagnetic pulse. So if that ever happened in the United States, where they set off an atomic weapon in the upper atmosphere over the United States, we'd be knocked back into the Stone Age. Oh well.
All right, Spence.
Yes, sir. Specials?
Ready?
Are we ready for specials?
Are you ready for specials?
I'm ready. And we have some Meltdown super specials today.
Let's see.
If you look at the first page, we have an Intel Screamer regularly $980 for 38 cents. And an AMD, this is a Spectre special on the AMD. It's a Ryzen best processor for $750 now for 22 cents. So get your checkbooks out. Buy these machines now while you can. Pre-hacked for your convenience. All right. Computers Now specials for January 7th, 2000.
With the Intel i7, who screams, the computer or the user?
Both, actually, yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So they changed the splash screen when the machine first starts up. You used to get the logo screen. And now it's what's that famous painting of the person screaming like this with their face?
Scream.
That's what the screen, that's what the startup screen looks like. All right. So laptops, Best Buy, we've got an entry-level Asus 15.6-inch Pentium Quad for $249. That's 30 off. Office Depot Office Max has a 15.6-inch Core i7 $220 off. This is the Meltdown special, $579.99. And Staples has a Dell Core i5 laptop for $499. That's $200 off. Desktops, all-in-ones. We've got a Lenovo Idea Center from at Best Buy, AMD A9, $339, save $40. Office Depot Office Max has an AMD A9 from HP Slim Desktop, $349. That's $130 off. And if you're looking for an all-in-one, highly recommended for shared computers with kids, because you can keep it out in the open, put it on a desk, somewhere that in the living space, not in their room. HP all-in-one. I think it's a 22-inch screen with an Intel Pentium Quad, $379. That's $65 off the regular price. Tablets, slim pickings today on tablets. Although Best Buy does have the Digiland 8-inch tablet for $59, which is $10 off. Office Depot Office Max. I'm sorry, I screwed up on that one. I didn't have the logo on the front. It's a Dell 11.6-inch 2-in-1 laptop, which is also a tablet. $229. That's $100 off. Staples has a Samsung Galaxy Tab A 16 gig for $169, which is $30 off. Networking. Netgear at Best Buy has a 16-port gigabit switch for $79.99, $20 off the regular price. Now, these are the metal case bulletproof switches. And there are some other, TP-Link makes one. I think they probably are the vendor that makes them for Netgear because they just look too similar. But TP-Link, you can save a little bit of money. But these are bulletproof, well-made. I still have older generation 10100 switches.
And they all work.
Taken out of service that still work.
Yep.
It's amazing. If you're looking for a serious upgrade for your wireless network and you don't want to spend a lot of money, we've got at Office Depot, we've got the TP-Link Archer 8 dual band gigabit wireless router for $94.99. That's $25 off the regular price. And Staples, the only thing they really had on sale, it's not that great a deal. Netgear Nighthawk AC 1900 cable modem wireless router for $199, save $30. Storage. Best Buy has a SanDisk 128 gig USB 3.0 flash drive for $32.99, save $87. Office Depot Office Max has a 4 terabyte Western Digital MyBook desktop hard drive for $119.99. That's $30 off. Who'd have thought, Amnon, that the regular price for this drive would be $150 for 4 terabytes?
Yep.
It's amazing. Who says that technology doesn't lower prices over time? Staples has Seagate Backup Plus 1 terabyte drive. Well, actually, I think this is a 2 terabyte drive. I'm sorry. For $69.99. Accessories. Logitech MK530. This is the high-end, one of the high-end Logitech wireless keyboard and mouse combos. $34.99, save $15 at Best Buy. Logitech MK270 wireless keyboard and mouse. This is kind of an entry-level one. $16.99, save $13. And then the top-end Logitech MK710 full-size wireless keyboard media center version with lots of programmable keys, $64.99, which is $35 off the regular price. Monitors, we've got a 27-inch Acer FHD monitor at Best Buy for $149, which is $70 off. Office Depot has a Dell 27-inch monitor for $159, which is $110 off. And Staples has an Acer 23.8-inch monitor for $99, which is $50 off. And I would probably, if I look closely, I could probably see the difference between these monitors. But for everyday use and with my vision the way it is, I don't think I would ever notice.
Right.
Maybe with brightness and colors I might see it, but certainly not resolution. Printer scanners. Canon Pixma wireless all-in-one printer for $49.99 at Best Buy. That's $150 off, so 75% off this printer. Brother P-Touch Cube label printer $39.99. That's 20 off at Office Depot, Office Max. And there's just 2 weeks in a row that my favorite printer has showed up on sale. This is the Brother MFCL 2700 DW. This is the mono laser all-in-one printer, scanner, fax, copier. $129, save $70.
And it does duplex.
This one now does duplex. Yeah. Mine does not. The one I have does not. But the new one does, which is fabulous. Fabulous. Home automation security. Insignia 3.6 amp USB charger wall outlet for $12.99. Says $17 at Best Buy. Office Depot Office Max has a Night Owl 4 gig surveillance camera on a key fob. This is supposed to look like a just a thing you'd have on your key ring, but it is also a surveillance camera. So Amnon, for your clandestine
what does the fob do?
The key fob, I don't know.
I mean,
I think it might be just for show, but it's actually the camera is the function. It doesn't do anything else. So you're sitting at lunch at Starbucks trying to talk to your clandestine contact, and you're fiddling with your key ring and just holding it up as you drink your coffee.
Oh, okay. So that's what I was looking at the next picture, and I see
it's a surveillance camera. Yeah,
I see.
And then Staples has, now this is not in their regular ad, but this is a sale. Lacrosse wireless remote temperature and humidity monitor with app for your smartphone to check for $31.49. That's an online special. So who was talking about this last week, looking for a good remote thermometer?
Mm-hmm.
It's at $31.49. That's a good price.
That would be me. And everyone I've checked has been inaccurate.
Yep. So this is worth a shot. This has a humidity monitor too. It's not just a thermometer. So okay. So moving into fries here, we've got 650 VA battery backup, $64, which is $10.99 off the regular price. Amnon, their combo meals are on sale for $8.25. So peppered roast beef, Black Forest ham and cheese, or roast turkey and cheese sandwich. So get in line. We're all set. So that's amazing how that's actually a draw item in their ad to get you to come to their store to buy technology, is the fact that they have their sandwiches on sale.
Sale is $8.25 is a sale for a sandwich?
Well, this is California. So
well, they got Georgia too.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know that this is prices across the board, but they're trying to be IKEA for technology, I guess.
No, I think it's brilliant for people. I mean, you can go into these fries and you can spend 3 or 4 hours easily.
Yes.
If you don't go in regularly. And
I used to shop at the very first one, which was in, it wasn't Santa Clara. I guess it was in Palo Alto. And it had, you go in the aisle, and you'd be walking down the aisle, look at all these soldering tools, and at the end of the aisle would be bags of Doritos. And then on the other side of the aisle, there would be all these like surface mount connectors and things that you would get for production lines, and there would be boxes of cookies. I mean, it was brilliant. They would sell, they knew who their market was. They knew who their customers were.
Well,
so the guy would come in with a shopping cart buying these surface mount connectors and stuff, and he'd load up on snacks.
Well, the people who use surface mount connectors also like cookies.
Yeah, that's right. But it was so perfect.
Yep.
Satellite tracking theft device. This is it's called Spot Technologies, 24-hour day location, email and text alerts to trace movement. It's $79.99, 20 off.
It does what?
It does satellite tracking. You can attach it to a vehicle. And figure out where it goes. Asus Chrome device turns your HDMI capable TV or monitor into a Chrome desktop. Now this is a refurbished product, but for $84.99, it's you buy it and you use a promo code from Fry's. You can pick this thing up for $84.99. 2 gig of memory, 16 gig storage, 802.11 AC, Bluetooth 4.0, HDMI, Chrome. If you want to, it's an interesting device for $84.99. I mean, you can still get a Roku for the same price, but this is actually
but that's taking your computer with you, so to speak.
Yeah. So this is an interesting idea. This is for you, Amnon. You need a new computer for your for the studio. Extreme VR, gaming ready.
No, that's for Nick. That's for Nick.
And it's on sale. It's only $26.99 after savings. So it's $150 instant savings. Hey, it's what a machine.
10 cores.
10 cores. Yep. So 10
comes with Spectre.
I was going to say Spectre and Meltdown times 10. So no problem. Tile. Tile is an interesting product. My daughter gave me one of these. It's to locate. You can use your phone. If you can't find your keys, for example, you can use the key fob that sits on your key ring, and it will chirp to tell you where your phone is, like to find it. But they make a lot of different tracking products now. This is just a subset of what they actually make. The Mate is the one you would put in. I think there's one that's made for your wallet, and then there's another one that's the key ring type, and then they have other more longer distance, higher strength ones for other applications. But this is a combo pack, 2 Mates and 2 Slims for $59, which is 10 off. And finally, Amnon, again for you, we've got 16 gig Minion USB 3.0 or 2.0 flash drives. So you could get any of these, Kevin, Bob, Dave, or Stuart, for $9.99, which is $5 off the regular price. And that's it for specials for January 7th, 2018.
Thank you, Spence.
You're welcome. And I'm going to be going off mic for a minute here. I've got 2 calls from a customer. I assume it's urgent.
All right.
So I'm going to
You're coming back.
Listen to this message. Yeah. All right. Bye.
Just make sure you mute your mic so it doesn't. Yep. All right. So, this week, somehow I got into trying to figure out why. No, Kathy was telling me that the speed of the iPad was slow. So I grabbed it and I went to speedtest.net, had to download an app, go figure. And sure enough, it was like about 30. And I said, well, let me go check the machine. So I checked the machine, my PC, and it was 325. So I played with it and went reading and all that, and said, no, it seems like that's, and a lot of people said that they had that problem. I happened to chat with Nick that evening and mentioned it, and Nick said, it's probably your access point, your wireless is probably, what do you use? So I'm using an Ingenious something, and it is getting up in years. So we were talking, and Nick was saying, no, you need to get a new wireless router for the house, because I don't use my main router as wireless because of where it is. I have an access point router, which is just like a bridge. So I said, okay, well, we start looking. And they were anywhere, in the 50s and 60s and 70s. So I ended up getting this one that I just put in the chat. And it's, if you look at it, it's unbelievable. The price is right. And the options, the specifications are really, really great. I'm supposed to get it later on today. So we'll keep you posted about how it actually works.
Now, a word of note with that.
Yeah.
Based on the reviews and the one that Amnon and I looked at, that is, you wouldn't want to use that to power your entire house. It's the signal strength is not. I mean, a traditional router like this is probably about $100. Amnon is trying to cover a pretty small area. So we assume this will be the perfect power.
We'll see.
If he had to cover his entire house, this would not work. And that's what a lot of the reviews are complaining. The one-star reviews are complaining about coverage. Which, I mean, if you buy a $28 router and you expect it to cover your entire house.
Right. They do make a newer one that's gigabit, but for what?
Yeah. So if you have a small area, maybe you have a small area in your house that has some spotty coverage. This would make probably a great repeater, or a great second access point because of its price. So if you're looking for something like that, this might be the way to go.
We'll find out later on this afternoon. But it's I couldn't believe it when I saw the price and then start looking deeper and deeper. And yep.
I thought it was a scam.
Yeah. Nice piece of hardware. It looks like a nice piece of hardware. We'll see if it really is.
There's a lot to be said for getting a router that uses the AC standard. But you have to keep in mind, and sorry if I'm missing part of the conversation, you have to keep in mind that to be able to utilize the full benefits of the AC standard, you have to have adapters that use AC.
Yep. Yeah, no, I mean,
but AC, even by itself, without having AC adapters on your devices, AC will do things like automatically adjust channels. It will do a really good job of dealing with interference. These are the things that AC does. You can, with the multiple bands, if you do have an AC adapter, you can do different streams. You can have one stream for multimedia, one stream for web traffic, for example. You really can do some amazing things. They will do spread spectrum across multiple frequencies. Just a lot of good.
Well, I mean, if you missed the beginning, the iPad that Kathy's using on the wireless top speed is 30 megabits.
What iPad is it? What version?
4.
That should have dual band in it.
Well, the thing is, I was reading, and a lot of people, there's something about the 30 megabits. A lot of tablets or laptop are stuck at 30. And I did all kind of things, doing away with QoS and nothing fixed. So the access point is on the porch. That's the old Ingenious.
Maybe it's cold.
Maybe it's cold. So I'm going to try and replace it with this, which does 2.4 and 5 gigahertz.
Now, I'll tell you what. Go ahead, Nick.
I'm sorry. It's like that access point that Amazon's using was like 15 years old. So it wasn't like it wasn't a new piece of equipment.
Right.
I'm sorry, Mike.
One of the things that we found out with Susan's iPad is that Apple does not do a very good job of switching between 2 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz. We had the channel she was authorized to log into 2 gig and 5 gig. And based on a recommendation that someone gave me on DSL reports, we turned off 5 gig completely on her iPad, and now it's not losing or reconnecting. It's just working.
5 is, because of the nature of the signal, it doesn't penetrate as far, and you have to be a lot closer to the origination.
I mean, all I have to cover is the office and the living room. That's all I'm trying to cover.
Oh, no, you'll be in your environment. You'll be fine. It's
So
I have 5. I run 5. I've moved my router down to my living room, and I'm about to, now that Christmas has been removed from the living room, I can get to my entertainment center again and move my router up to the top of the unit, because right now it's down buried in the back behind the television, and I'm realizing that's probably affecting my signal strength. But if I move it up to the top, I can sit there with my iPhone. I put it on 5 gig. There is a way to set priority in your phone for networks. But if you find you're having a switching problem like Mike was having, you can delete the instances of those networks, and it won't automatically join them.
Right.
So you set it to a specific one, so you don't have to worry about it shifting back and forth. But I can get 125 meg on my iPhone using 5G.
See, that's what I don't know. She said that it used to be faster, and now it's. So I'll find out this afternoon. Like I said.
Yeah, go in. You might want to just try at the very least. Go in and find that wireless config and delete it and reestablish it. And
I changed a lot of things on Friday night. I changed the channels.
Did I tell you about the issue I had when I had all kinds of weird networking issues with my phone where it would lose connection and switch over to LTE. I'm sitting there in my living room, and I was like, what is going on here?
It can cause you to really burn up your data if you're not paying attention.
Yeah, well, I have unlimited now, so that's good. But what I did was I went in and I deleted the entire network profile. You can completely erase the phone and start over, or you can just go in and reset the network profile. Now, I lost all of my saved connections, and that was okay, but that fixed my problem. I was having what looked like some kind of DNS issue where I'd search and couldn't get to a site. And then if I switched over to LTE, it would work, but it would not work on my home network.
Speaking of which, I very regularly will go to a location and connect to their Wi-Fi, and it says unable to get email, unable to get email. It probably happens 50% of the time. I connect to somebody else's Wi-Fi, and it's typically a restaurant or a store or something like that. It even happened to me over at SAS.
Unable to get or send?
Get. Then I get, and it's because I use Gmail for a pop account. When I get home, it says someone has tried to hack into your Gmail account.
Oh, I see what they're doing. Yes, because of the pop, you've got Gmail is seen as an IP that you don't normally use, and they're blocking it. Yeah.
That is how my problem manifested itself at first. Was I couldn't get to email. It would say I would be looking at my phone and I'd say, wait a minute, I haven't refreshed my email since last night. And I try to refresh it, said unable to get mail. So I went in and I deleted the accounts and reestablished the accounts and didn't fix anything. So finally, in reading forums, I got to the suggestion that I reset my network, and that fixed it. So some value got changed. Now, it might have been me fooling around with it, putting in a special DNS somewhere.
Yeah, but iPhones just work.
Yeah.
Is anybody involved with testing 5G?
Testing?
That's what it says in chat.
Well, to the extent where I actually have a survey tool that will let me look at signal strength, but that's about it. I don't actually test it. I have done surveys for people where I look at their 5G signal and walk around the house and measure it to see if it's getting to the places they need it to get to. What's the app I have on my iPhone? I think I mentioned this before. Very handy. Dr. Wi-Fi is called. And you launch this app, and it works with the network you're connected to. And the first thing it does is it does a upload and download speed test. And then if you do the signal strength test, it will show you a dynamic signal strength meter, with very simple to understand because it's got red and green as far as signal strength goes. And you can walk around the house and tap record, and it will save the places. Like I walk into my bonus room, I tap record, and it shows the signal strength there, and I can just do a very basic survey of the house. It's not a map, but at least will tell me, hey, my bonus room, the signal is only minus 70. It's useless. But when I go into another place, I'm at minus 30, which is fabulous. So, Dr. Wi-Fi.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't think I talked about it because I wasn't here last week, but I did get a new iPhone. And
Oh yeah, what did you get?
I got the iPhone 8 Plus. I've had it now for 2 weeks. Wireless charging is awesome. Not having the headphone jack is a huge pain in the ass.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
The connector that splits Lightning to headphones to use in the car does not work. Do not buy them.
I had one that I bought, which was a splitter.
Yep,
that
that's what I bought.
I bought it. It worked fine for like 2 months. And then one day I was taking off. This is when I was in Alaska. I had a jacket on. It was cold. I was out walking. Took the jacket off, and I had still had the headphone connected. I was listening to a podcast, and I got a static electric spark.
Oh,
Crack like that. It was that was it. Gone.
Yeah.
Working. And I complained to the vendor, and they actually got back to me to say, "When did you buy it?" And I told them the date I bought it, which was 2 months before, and that was the last I heard from them.
Yeah. The issue with these cheap ones is it says device. It'll just I saw when I was driving up back from New York last week. It would actually last week. Every like 3 minutes, it would say device not supported, and it would kick the audio off. So they're junk. Don't buy them. I don't know what my solution is going to be for in the car charging the phone and listening to audio, but
I'm going to go get something that I have on my nightstand to show you, Nick, that I found something that it was a little more expensive, but it works.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
So overall, pretty happy with the phone. The iPhone 10 still has terrible reviews, and nobody's buying it.
You know, it's amazing to me that they have the iPhone 10 out there.
Yep.
And
Nobody
you
wants
still see most of the commercials on TV are about buying the iPhone 8.
Nobody freaking wants it.
It's unbelievable. This is like Chevy's trying to get you to buy 2015 cars.
Well, it's crazy. They're trying so hard to change the norm that it's just too extreme for people. It's too extreme for me.
Norm! Against the norm.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, like right now, I can hold my phone like this and unlock it. I don't need to look at it. Now it's unlocked.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to look at the stupid phone screen to do it. So, I mean, nobody wants the 10. Nobody wants to deal with that crap.
Yeah, they're going to come up with a phone that you have to lick twice and tap on the back 4 times.
Yeah.
I just ran Dr. Wi-Fi on my phone. It says I have 114 down, 67.95 up, and 21 milliseconds ping.
Excellent.
And I'm sitting here
That
right
is
beside
great.
the wireless access point.
Jeez.
So here's the adapter, Nick. It is literally just a Lightning splitter.
Okay.
It doesn't have the audio component in it.
Where
Okay.
is this from? Where did you get it from?
I got it on Amazon. I'll have to look up because there's no name on it. But this was it was more expensive. I think I paid $20 for it.
And how long have you had it?
3 months.
And it works?
It works. And you plug in your converter from Lightning to mini plug to use your earphones, but you can plug your charger into this and then into the phone. So you can charge and do music. It does. The nice part about it is it doesn't do the audio function, so that can't fail.
Yeah, because the issue I had too is I would assume they're using a very, very cheap headphone amplifier. So there's this terrible hissing and cracking and
crackling and weird stuff.
Okay, so you experience it. So this one doesn't. You don't experience.
No, this doesn't do it.
Yeah, please send me a link to that.
But it's just a splitter. It's not. Doesn't do it.
And as I thought about it, the only location where I'd really ever need to charge my phone for a long period of time and have headphones in is the car. I mean, when you're on a road trip. So my solution for home, because what I do is I fall asleep listening to podcasts, which is a terrible habit. So my solution for home was to buy a wireless charger to put on the nightstand. So the phone charges wirelessly. I plug in a pair of headphones, and that's the solution for that. But for the car, I just still those crappy little $12 Y splitters do not work. So try that out. Now the other Gene is asking me about wireless charging.
I think you are using the Anchor. Isn't that the one you got?
I'm not. I'm using the Senio wireless charger. Only reason I bought it is because it was on sale. I've been using it now for a week. I got it last Sunday when I got home from my road trip. I've used it every night since. Now, I use it next to my bed at night, so I don't know how fast it charges. I don't know the speed of it. It's not really a concern for me because it's on the charger for hours at a time during the night. So if you need something that's like they talk about fast charging and quick charging and stuff like that, I don't know about how fast it charges or anything else, but every morning that I've woken up, the phone has been at 100% charge. So it works.
Well, Gene is saying he's got 4 of them.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, there you go. But the wireless charging is awesome. I really like it. Yeah, I'm looking at the Anchor. Yeah, the Anchor one's the little pad. The one that I have is a little stand. But I haven't really. And honest to God, I really haven't had to charge my phone a whole lot. It's the nice thing about having a new iPhone is the battery doesn't really die. I had the phone off the charger all day yesterday. Mind you, I left the house twice. I wasn't on my phone a whole lot, but when I went to bed last night around 2:00, the phone was still at 75%. So it was off the charger all day and it barely touched the battery.
Nice.
And it does work. And wireless charging does work with the case. I've got a really slim case on the phone because I don't like the bigger cases. And the wireless charging, it's got a clear back, which doesn't really affect it, but it works perfectly.
It will be interesting for you to try to put it on the charge on the pad, and you can see that it's charging, right?
Yeah, the little light on the charger pad goes from blue to green.
And see how far can you get from the pad before that light
you
goes
can't.
out?
It literally has to be touching. It instantly stops charging.
Okay.
Yeah, this isn't anything crazy. It instantly stops charging.
Yeah, but I mean, if the case doesn't interfere, then there must be some more. It doesn't really need to touch. Obviously.
Well, no, I mean it does. It's just being super. No, I mean I've tried it. When I pick up the phone, the second I pick up the phone, it stops.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about picking it up. I'm talking about go up like a 1/16 of an inch and see if it's still okay. I'm just wondering. It'll be.
Thanks for the link there, Spence. I'll order one of these right now.
So Nick, the price actually went down on this thing. It's down to $9.99.
Excellent.
Try it. Yeah, try it out.
All right, it'll be here Wednesday.
And they claim that they're responsive to customer inquiries and issues. And again, it's one of those wacky names you see. You see a similar product out there, and there are all these wacko top pack, or this one is called the.
It doesn't matter. It works.
Doesn't matter. It works. Yeah. It's been and I haven't put it into all that dynamic an environment, but it still seems to work.
Yeah, but okay. Nick, yours did not work from the get-go, right?
No, it worked. And that's funny. Now that I go back and look on Amazon, the product is currently unavailable and all of the reviews are gone. So, I mean, this is clearly a shady product.
Yeah.
I mean, it was only like $11. I'm not even going to bother trying to return it. Just do not buy the splitter that adds the headphone adapter. They don't work.
No, I did. They have 2 there. They have one for $7.99, which is the actual headphone and lightning splitter, and then they have the lightning splitter, which is
I would not buy the one with the headphone jack. Buy the one with the lightning splitter, and then buy Apple's little $9 lightning to headphone adapter.
That works. The audio volume is much better with the Apple splitter.
Yeah, well, that was the other issue. The audio was so low out of this splitter. But I had to crank the stereo all the way up to even listen to anything.
All right. Pay attention here, guys. If you're using HP laptops, HP announced this week that it is recalling the lithium-ion batteries in more than 50,000 laptops because of the danger of fire in cases of battery malfunction. says these batteries have the potential to overheat, posing a fire and burn hazards to customers. You can go to the HP and run a validation utility software to determine if your battery is recalled. But to begin with, they have a list here of the one that are affected. HP ProBook 640 G2, HP ProBook 640 G3, 645 G2, 645 G3, 650 G2 and 3, 655 G2 and G3, ZBook 17 G3 and G4, ZBook Studio G3, HP X360 310 G2, and just the Pavilion X360, HP Envy M6, and HP 11 Notebook PC. If you have any of those, go to the HP site, hp.com, and do the software that predetermines whether you are your machine, your battery has been recalled or not. Now, the thing that it does, if it is recalled and it needs to be replaced, they did something nice. They should then they will install an update that will put the device in battery safe mode, which will discharge the battery and prevent it from being charged until it is replaced. This update will allow consumers to continue using the computers safely with AC power while they wait for the new battery. So at least they did some interim step to make sure that you don't blow up. And I know some laptops will operate without the battery plugged in, just with the AC power. Some of them will not. So if they are discharging it, I don't know if you need to exchange it or it stays in the computer and they will send you a new one. I don't know why they would want it anyway. So HP, check it. Check and see if you got a problem with yours. 919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. What else, guys?
Did you hear about the pilot who took off from Oklahoma City, headed for Houston to do a dog rescue for Pilots and Paws organization? He was flying a Cirrus SR-22 single-engine plane at 19,000 feet, which is above the level that you can fly for very long without oxygen. Unfortunately, as he got towards Houston, he kept going straight. And finally, he was out over the Gulf of Mexico. Apparently, the U.S. government sent some intercept jets. They found him. They said that he was in the cockpit and unresponsive. Then the jets turned around and left. This is not confirmed. This is what I read on Facebook. They turned around and went back to base while the guy kept flying, and he eventually ran out of fuel and crashed into the Gulf of Mexico. Now they can't find him.
It sounds like the what was the golfer that Paige Stewart? Remember that when that happened? In his private jet, they took off and they lost cabin pressure at altitude, and then they all died of asphyxia. And the plane was flying across the country from Florida all the way up into Minnesota or something like that. When they were going to shoot it down.
Well, they didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, they didn't know it, but they could see that the windows, they sent the jets up and they could see the windows were all frosted over all around inside the jet. So they knew that they were dead. And
but this
eventually crashed.
This Cirrus SR-22 is a pretty fascinating airplane. it's very expensive, but it's got a ceiling of 25,000 feet, and it travels, it looks like, at about 235 miles an hour.
It's got to have onboard oxygen then if it can go that high.
Well, this is the thing that in reading this thread in Facebook, and this thread is about pilots, and the speculation as to what happened is just incredible. Oh, he must have he was above 15,000 feet. You can't be above 15,000 feet, but about 30 minutes or whatever the number is without.
No, that's not true.
Well,
Not too. It can affect your cognitive ability, but climbers go that high all the time.
Well, there is a limit above which it's not legal to do it for obvious
12,000.
reasons, because it can impair your ability to realize you need to get to a lower altitude. But after many posts in this thread, this comes in here and says, I can't believe how many uneducated people speak on subjects they know nothing about. If you don't know the airplane, find out. If you don't know about Aeromed, study. Just don't babble about an accident and think you're educating people who are actually understanding both the aircraft and the aeromedical factors. And that's in response to someone who said that that comment encouraged me to research the Cirrus SR-22T. I was unaware that this Cirrus flagship has a maximum operating altitude of 25,000 feet, a built-in O2 system, as well as hypoxia check auto descent safety system. So that now I know why he flew at 19,000 feet. So apparently this airplane, if it gets into a hypoxia situation, it will automatically descend to a lower altitude. And what a lot of people who don't know anything about the Cirrus don't know is that this is an airplane that has a parachute built in. If it turns out that you're unable, you lose your engine and you have to do an emergency landing, you can slow fly it, pull a handle in the roof, and it'll actually deploy a parachute and let you drop straight down to the ground.
Yeah, I remember when that came out. It was fascinating. It's actually built into the straps that hold the parachute and all that are built into the actual fuselage, so you can't see it when you get into the plane. But it literally blows a charge, shoots the parachute out, and tears away the coating that covers up the straps, and the plane will just like swing back and forth and just come down to it. It's not a gentle landing, but it's a landing that you can survive.
Yeah, the likelihood is you'd be able to walk away from it.
Yeah.
I saw a number somewhere. I don't remember what it was, but it's something like $50,000 if you pull that handle.
Yeah. Hey, what's your life worth? I remember being trained, and it was said that more pilots lose their lives because they're afraid. They're not willing to do what they have to do to survive because they might damage the airplane.
Yeah, watch me worry about that one.
Yeah, no, it's like every time I took off from W Airport, which is a terrible place to fly out of because it's surrounded by trees. There's just no cutback. Is that the pilot? My instructor would say, "Well, you just go down. Don't worry about taking the wings off. Just put it straight down between those trees, and you'll survive. The plane won't." But who cares? And that was a tough lesson to learn when you rent a plane.
Well, the reason I bring this story up now is because, well, for starters, it's interesting. But what is further interesting is there just doesn't seem to be a lot of coverage on it right now. Normally, about this time, you would see a message, and maybe it's out there, and I just can't find it.
When did it happen?
What day was this?
It's because it's not fake news.
Well, that's true. Well, we could say Al Gore was on board, and then they'll start getting excited about it. He was up there in global warming kit while he was in the air.
Just say it was a Trump advisor.
January 3rd. Let's see what Gene posted in chat. Oh, yeah, Learjet. Okay.
Oh, yeah, he said his name. No, they can't.
Of course, they can blame it on Trump.
Yeah.
The Conspiracy News Network, CNN.
But listen to this. I mean, what Trump started with fake news is spreading. French President Emmanuel Macron had a rather extreme approach to combat fake news. Ban entire websites. In a speech to journalists on Wednesday, Macron said he planned to introduce new legislation to strictly regulate fake news during online political campaigns. Gizmodo reports that his proposal included a number of measures, most drastically, an emergency legal action that could enable the government to either scrap fake news. Is that scrape? No, it's scrap.
Don't know. We
From
can't see what you're reading.
SCRAP.
That would be scrap.
Yeah. From a website, or even block a website altogether. If we want to protect liberal democracies, we must be strong and have clear rules. When fake news are spread, it will be possible to go to a judge and, if appropriate, have content taken down, user accounts deleted, and ultimately websites blocked.
Well, this is excellent because Macron is a pawn for the left. So he does this. It's great. Trump does this. He's a dictator.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
are you freaking kidding me? So he's saying that whatever what they don't agree with, they can bring to the courts and have it removed.
Right, but only things they don't agree with are
of course, yeah. So like Breitbart, Drudge Report, the Daily Mail, what's his name site, the Daily Caller, Ben Shapiro's, so anything that they don't agree with, they can pull down. But because he's a token piece for the left, you're not going to hear anything about this. But Trump tries to ban fake news, and he's mentally unstable, needs to be impeached. Fantastic. Gotta love it.
Just playing these guys like a violin. This thing about he wanted to ban the publishing of the book is because he wants everybody to read it so he can totally embarrass the guy.
Hey, Nick, check your. Oh, you are? Okay, good. I saw your response. Thanks.
I mean, seriously, I can't even believe that story, Amnon. If you could send me that, I'd love to talk about that tonight.
Right.
I mean, I can't believe for once. So they're banning the First Amendment. They're banning the First Amendment. Obviously,
well, that only applies to government, but to go to court and to enforce it imposes the government and involves the government. So then the First Amendment does kick in.
That's not the point. The point that I'm getting from the story is that it's even coming up, and they're going to do that. And that shows that they're paying attention to what Trump is saying.
Where is this?
Macron. It's France. Macron.
France.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, if you live there, you deserve what you get.
Yeah.
I can't believe there's no conversation about that.
I don't know. This is from...
It's because nobody's taking it seriously.
Slashdot.
I think Trump should do the same thing, but on the other side. There you go. Problem solved.
Look, I'm not in favor. We made no secret here about how we're right-wing wackos.
Like my hat?
No. And so there's certainly an awful lot of crap that we have to endure, but I'm not in favor of banning any of it. Let them post it. Let them tell people who they are. And if the average person is too stupid to figure it out, that's just unfortunate.
Yeah, but I don't know, when you can sway people with fake news and it has the outcome is going the wrong way because of that. If there's a way to stop it, it should.
You can't stop it.
Well, I mean, they can do as much as they can,
They can't do as much as they can. All they're going to do is make the problem worse. Ask Julian Assange.
Yeah, I mean, I'm perfectly okay with all this stuff being posted. My whole comment was the fact of how Trump tries to talk about how he jokingly says he's going to revoke NBC's license, which isn't even a thing that they have. And the people lose their mind. Macron says, oh, well, during political season, we're just going to ban anything we don't agree with, and that's okay. No, it's just sheer hypocrisy.
It is. And a few weeks ago, we were talking about 4K TVs.
Mm-hmm.
Forget that. If you're going to CES, you can sit next to an LG 88-inch 8K OLED display. 8K.
That thing's going to be expensive. Those OLED TVs.
So I'm upgrading vMix.
What?
To 8K.
Oh, to 8K. Excellent. Yeah. From 4x3 to 8K. What a jump.
8K, 88 inch.
Yeah, but it's probably like $7,500.
Oh, yeah, that's right. But the thing is,
That's probably more than that. It's probably over $10,000.
pretty soon, you're going to be able to build a big room in the backyard and put one of these things and start charging people to come and watch.
But here's the problem.
Movies.
And that's
Amazing.
the problem now with 4K. There's no freaking content.
Yeah. Oh,
There still isn't any 4K content. I mean, you
It's
can
a-
watch,
it's a
you can watch your
catch-22.
Blu-rays.
It's a
That's it.
catch-22. You have to have a lot of them out there. And you're right, Nick. You were telling me that most of the TVs out there are 4K, and it's true.
If you walk
So-
into a store like a Target or a Walmart, all the way in the back where they have their electronics section, where
Yeah.
they've got all those TVs lining the wall, 70, 80% of them are going to be 4K. There's still no content. I mean, my parents bought a 4K TV. They didn't even want to buy a 4K TV. I don't think they've watched anything in 4K because it's not available. Time Warner doesn't have anything in 4K.
I just had to buy another DVD player because my very expensive one that has been wonderful, I put a DVD in and it doesn't recognize it. And the very same modern version of the one that I have, which is Blu-ray, was $49 at $59 at Best Buy, or I could have gotten one that was 4K for $150. And I got the $49 one. I don't need 4K anytime soon.
Yeah, obviously the new Xbox, the Xbox, I don't remember what it is, the Xbox X or whatever, or Z or whatever the new one is called. That's got 4K. The Sony PlayStation Pro does some stuff in 4K. But outside of that and DVDs, obviously you get the 4K Roku, but Netflix has got very limited 4K content. It's only pretty much their exclusive stuff. And you've got to pay more for it. And I don't believe Amazon serves any 4K content via Amazon Prime Video. Other than that, no. DirecTV every once in a while does a test with 4K, but they don't even have 4K boxes. Their boxes support 1080p or 1080i. They don't support 4K. So I think it's bigger in Europe. The BBC, I think, does 4K. But they're kind of on the leading edge of some of that stuff in technology, video stuff, unlike in the US where we're still very far behind.
Oh, sorry about that. My machine locked up just as I was responding to you, Nick, before.
There you go. The Russians trying to shut you down.
That's it. Something I said.
Really.
As soon as you
Smart
mentioned
enough.
Trump, the NSA
Shut it down.
starts monitoring.
They flip the breaker.
Mm.
Shut it down.
I've been very lucky. This FX processor has been great. Very, very no problems. So I think it was before you were on the air, before we were talking about the Meltdown and Spectre exploits. And one of the fixes that Google recommends for Chrome is that you turn off, I forget what the term is called, but it's like a site sharing. Basically, you isolate each instance of the browser from each other so you can't melt over and from one to the other and exploit stuff. Let me see if I can find it here.
Spence, you feeling okay?
Huh?
Spence, you feeling okay?
Yeah, why?
You're kind of blue.
Yeah, well, I am. Well, I didn't start exploit up again. It wasn't going to bother. It's called site isolation. So I turned it on. It's supposed to have 20% more memory used for Chrome.
Oh.
So we'll see. Interesting.
Let's see. What
So
else?
you mentioned CES is coming up.
Yeah.
So the FCC chairman, Ajit Pai, was
Yep.
supposed to go to CES. Did you already talk about this?
No.
He was supposed to go to CES to, I mean, it's a consumer electronics show, chair of the FCC. And he has canceled his appearance. And of course, as I read through the comments on Reddit, they're saying, oh, screw him or whatever. It turns out, it was all the death threats because, since net neutrality, everybody's internet has gone so much slower,
Right.
that they're just threatening him. And of course, I'm watching these these jackasses online try to. This one guy says, "I'm sure there are security concerns." He goes, "Well, I'm sure there is, but he should still show up anyway." So, I mean, you know, I mean, this is it. I mean, this is the progressive movement. This is what we've come to. Like, oh, it doesn't matter if there's security concerns because you know, we need him to show up so that we can continue to cry about how somehow the internet is just going to stop working over net neutrality. Which, by the way, it's been what, 3 weeks now. Has anybody had any issues? I mean, my internet still is fast.
And the more I'm reading about it, the more you see comments like, "I will bet that in 3 or 4 years you look back and you say, not really. I mean, nothing changed because they repealed it." And it's true. I mean, people that think with a open mind realize, you know, businesses are not going to screw up and screw their business, even though they have a way to do it. I mean,
you don't think Google's going to charge $300 a month to use YouTube? Yeah. Oh, really, Amnon? Wow. Yeah. I mean, you must have a shred of you know, brain power to come to that conclusion.
This is like having a rail on the highway that you cannot get on the highway, so you're protected, and then they decided, you know, we're going to take that rail away. If you're stupid enough to get in there, I mean, you know you're going to get hurt. You stay on the sidelines like you always did. And businesses will probably do the same thing. If they're going to do what the opposition is talking about, they're going to ruin their business. So they're not going to do it. So things are just going to keep on the same way. Now,
yeah, but see, the thing is that the people that are saying this believe that capitalism is the worst thing ever. And
yeah, of course.
No, but seriously, in all seriousness, I'm not making you joke here. The problem is these people don't understand free market, understand capitalism. That, yes, could Comcast? Here's the thing: even before net neutrality, Comcast could have done whatever the hell they wanted. The FCC wasn't going to enforce anything.
Sure.
So,
and they did.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's my whole point is, you know, Comcast could say, you know, we're going to raise your internet bills by $200 a month. And guess what? If Time Warner tomorrow said, we're going to raise your internet bill, I pay $55 or $60 a month. I don't know what it is. If they said we're going to raise to $150, I would 100% cancel my internet connection.
Yeah.
And figure out something else. I just cancel my internet connection and I'd find something else to do. Wouldn't be doing podcasts. I'd find something else to do.
And that's why they don't do it.
Of course
that's why they they inch it up slowly, so it's sort of like we don't feel it.
Yeah,
sure,
but
absolutely.
But that's the whole point. But these people don't believe that capitalism is a thing, and they just now that the regulations are gone, all these companies are just going to start charging. Yeah, YouTube can charge $300 a month to use their service. Guess who's going to pay for it? Not a damn person. Right. Nobody's going to spend that kind of money to use YouTube.
I mean, we were crying and screaming about mid-rolls. And they were saying, okay, if you pay $3 a month, we'll do away with the mid-rolls when you're watching. I don't know anybody that paid that $3.
No.
You know.
Of course not. And as John makes a point, millennials believe socialism is better than capitalism. I think that's the inherent problem here. The only people that are pissed off about this are millennials and people that are just uninformed.
It's only because they're exactly uninformed. They don't know what it is. They need to go and live in a socialist country.
Go look at Venezuela. It's great.
We call those Bernie supporters.
Yeah, I mean everything's great down in Venezuela, right, Mike? I mean, all the food, they got so much food and money.
The thing that gets me about all these wackos is there are plenty of countries they can move to and be in a utopia. Why do they have to stay here and stress over this country not going socialist?
They should go to Iran and check out the internet access over there. I've heard it's great the past couple of weeks.
The extraordinary health care that's available down in Cuba.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see the statement that came out this week from the National Health Service over in the UK? How they've canceled all optional surgery until further notice. Over 90,000. They said, it's much better than last year. At least we're giving people notice this year.
You know what happens whenever the medical services are limited? the life expectancy goes up.
Yes.
I'm not joking.
Oh, yeah, because the chances of you having a bad experience from a elective surgery goes down. Because you're not actually having anything done. You don't wind up getting staph infection from having your wound lanced.
And I've got one more story here to read that's kind of funny, but it's technical. Amazon announced new tools on Friday that will allow gadget makers to include the smart voice assistant, Alexa, in a whole array of new products. Alexa is Amazon's smart voice assistant, and it has slowly made its way from Amazon Echo into third-party speakers, refrigerators, and soon even microwaves. Now, with Amazon Alexa mobile accessory kit, device makers will be able to build Alexa into headphones, smartwatches, fitness trackers, and more. That means you may soon be able to look down at your wrist and ask Alexa the weather, or to remind you to pick up eggs at the grocery store. CNET reports that Kohler, a company that makes plumbing products, wants to bring Alexa to your bathroom as well.
Excellent.
Oh, shit. Not just flushed.
Luckily for me, I keep my Alexa right next to the bathroom, so I'm good to go.
That's really hard to push that handle.
Yeah, very inconvenient.
Alexa flush.
Oh, God.
Oh,
No,
boy.
I said flush.
Huh? What?
What?
What'd you say? I said Alexa flush.
I said Alexa flush.
And that is actually one comment I was going to make earlier about Alexa. If you have one of these, you can listen to this show on it. It's kind of tricky the way you get it to play. But here's exactly what you can say to bring up Computers 2K now on the Alexa. Alexa, play TuneIn Nissan Communications.
Right.
You have to say play, TuneIn, which is where it will find it, and the show is Nissan Communications.
The channel,
so
yeah.
I just put it in chat. Alexa, play TuneIn Nissan Communications, and you'll get this show on it.
Well, I've got an interesting Alexa. I don't know if I'd call it a problem per se.
Uh-oh.
But it is kind. Okay. I guess I said the wake up word because the thing's going off over here. I don't even. What was I talking about?
Alexa, you have a new problem.
Yes, I have a problem with my Echo device. We'll use that word instead. So I bought my parents an Echo 2 years ago for Christmas when it was getting hot, and I bought them a couple smart switches, got them a couple more this year. Everything's fine and dandy. They're all set up. So I moved down here in July or August, and after a couple of months, I decided I'd like to get an Echo as well. I use it to listen to the radio and stuff like that. So I get one. Problem solved. I log into my Amazon account. Good to go. Set it up as a new device. Everything's fine and dandy. So I wanted to try something. Turns out, because I'm on the same Amazon account, it's my Amazon account, and both of the Echoes are set up on it, I can control their smart switches and they can control mine, which isn't really a problem because I don't have any, luckily. But there's no way to separate.
You mean controlling it with the app, not with
No, I can literally talk and I can say, Echo, turn the lamp off, and it will shut off the lamp in my parents' house.
Oh.
Which I guess makes sense. But there is no way to segment having two different Echo devices on the same account that have different skills and stuff like that. So I think I'm going to have to create myself a new Amazon account and set up my device on that. So quick note of everybody, if you have multiple households on an Amazon account, which I guess the more I think about it, that Echo doesn't really take anything from Amazon Prime, so it doesn't really matter.
You bought it on your account. Don't they have an account?
No, we just have one. We just have one Amazon account.
So they cannot have anything that's unique. Like if they want to have a shopping list, they cannot.
No, and that's where this came up when I was going to go grocery shopping, and Amazon said, just tell the thing to put it on your shopping list. Tell Echo to put it on your shopping list. And I did, and that's when I called my mother and said, hey, I'm going to try this, see if it does anything, and it shut off the lamp in their living room.
How do you make a call from an Echo to an Echo?
You have to have it enabled on the app. It tells you. I think you just say call and then give it the contact name.
Okay. Well, next time you come over here, Susan's going to ask you to demonstrate how to do that.
Okay. Well, you have to have somebody to call.
Nick, can't they get
We got 2 or 3 of them.
an Amazon?
Well, are you talking about internally inside your house?
Yeah.
That's like an intercom system.
Right. Want to know how to do that? Well, I can use it now as a cell phone. If I say call Amnon work, it'll dial him and say it's from my cell phone.
Yeah, that's the intercom thing, which is actually really cool.
By the way, these things were $29.95 for Christmas. They're back up to $48.
Yeah,
It's a hell of a deal for Christmas.
But Nick, let's go back to it. I mean, can't you get an account, an Amazon account, not Prime, not nothing, just for that purpose to control the Echo?
That's what I'm going to do.
And have nothing else tied to it.
No, that's what I'm.
Second account.
Well, and I think what I'm really going to do is now that I've moved out and I don't foresee moving back in, I probably will I'll just create another Amazon account and just switch the email over on the main one to my parents, and then I'll just get another Prime because there's just
if they don't use Prime, I mean, I would.
Well, they do. No, they do use Prime, but here's the thing. I mean, it's not. It'll be worth $98 a year, or whatever, to have everything separate. I've more than once accidentally ordered something and it's shipped to New York because I don't pay attention to the delivery address, and it's just a pain in the ass. So, word of note: if you're using 2 different Amazon Echoes, any of the Echoes, the big one, the Tap, which we got one for the office, it works well. The Dot, any of those devices, 2 separate locations, and you want different commands, you have to create a second Amazon account.
Yeah. And if you want to hear Nick's show tonight, all you have to do is say, Alexa, play WFBT.
Really? You don't need to use TuneIn?
Just what I put there. Just Alexa, play WFBT.
I mean, that's how I listen to whenever I'm home listening to the radio station. That's how I listen to it. I don't bother even turning the radio on.
So I need to figure out how to eliminate the TuneIn, because it's coming from TuneIn, right?
I don't remember.
It does come from TuneIn.
Yeah, so it's some kind of a shortcut that it understands.
It's not a shortcut. It's what?
It understands the WFBT. It has to go to get it from TuneIn. Somewhere it's configured to do that, right?
Well, it knows that it recognizes those 4 letters as a call sign. It searches the TuneIn directory. Actually, it searches the iHeart and the TuneIn directory, and it figures out where that's. We have the station listed as WFBT on TuneIn. If we didn't have it listed as that, it wouldn't find it. But if we've got that listed as our call sign, and Charles mentions podcasts. I mean, you could say Echo play Dave Ramsey, and it will go to TuneIn. It'll say finding the latest episode of Dave Ramsey, and it'll just start playing it.
Yeah, but if you go to the Echo and say Alexa, play Nissan Communications, there's no such thing.
Not a radio.
Huh?
It's not a radio station.
And it may be confused because it's available at YouTube and other places.
I don't know.
All right, everybody be quiet for just a second. This is just for Jason. Are you ready?
It's looking for a song. That's why, by the way.
Alexa, play rap. Okay, you can talk now. It was better. I got a better one. This is just for Jason.
Hold on. Before you do that, if you want to have real fun, ask it to do Simon Says. It will repeat whatever you
No, I got a better one. This is cruel, but I'm going to do it anyway. You need to edit this out, Amnon. You ready?
Oh.
Alexa, play Taylor Swift. All right, got one more real serious question, then we got to go. We're way over. I need to buy a desktop computer this week. I want it to be an i7 with a lot of memory and need to know what kind to buy.
Why do you want to buy it and not build it?
Well, I could build it, or you could. It's for a friend of mine.
What's it for?
Email and web browsing.
Well,
why an i7 for that?
Don't ask.
Is
Marshall.
money an object?
Say again?
Money an object?
Yeah.
Okay, well, how much money is the object?
I don't know.
Marshall.
Well, seriously, because I'll give you a PC part builder link, and you can just buy everything from there and build it, or I can build it, either or.
I think what I'm going to have to do is I'm not going to go into it because the name here would be recognizable, and I don't really agree with his approach. But he's got to have the latest and the greatest, even though he already has a dual core i3 with an SSD. I don't think he's going to see a lot of difference in performance, but he's convinced he is.
Mike, Marshall, for the office, I mean, he has a bunch of computers. He keeps buying HP computers on eBay. And most of them are new. i7, 4770, 4790, 16 gig of RAM. The reason he goes to eBay is because he can find them with Windows 7. And when you buy a new computer, I see no reason why you couldn't upgrade it. But you can find the latest and greatest HP computer over there for 500, 600, 700 with I mean, standard machine. Now, we're not talking with a special video card or special anything.
Nope.
Yeah. He keeps getting it there, so, and he's happy with them.
Gary says Dell XPS. I have to confess,
Well,
I've been seriously considering Dell. I don't know if they're past all that proprietary crap they were doing at one point.
They're not.
They're not. No,
Their desktop computers aren't good. I mean, good luck trying to open up and use it. I mean, you can't even use their cases because the stupid layout of their power supply and stuff like that. They don't use a regular ATX connector. Dell's the freaking worst.
You know, that's when you just sent me, Nick. That's a heck of a deal.
Yeah, I mean, for now, I know who Mike's getting it for and what the use case is. That's probably the way. It's not worth building one. And it's got an SSD. You could throw an extra hard drive in it or upgrade the SSD if you wanted to. This is I've never used this computer. It may be terrible.
I have one just like it sitting over here on the floor in the same case. It's not the same computer.
Well, there you go. It's a 2018 HP Elite with an i7 quad-core 3770, 8 gigs of RAM, a 256 SSD, Windows 10, USB 3. It's certified refurbished for $400.
yeah. No, 3770 is not the latest and greatest, but it's great.
It's about 6 generations faster than the guy who's going to be using it.
Let's see. The 3770 came out in 2012, so it's not the newest processor. But
And there may be a newer quad i7 than this one.
well, and that's why I made the point is you'd be better off. I know why you want, but I'm saying this for people listening. This computer versus a newer i5, you'd be better off with a newer i5 because this is. I mean, you're talking about a 6-year-old i7, which is. I mean, I personally think you'd be better off with a newer i5 at half the price. But if you're looking for the label name, this might be the way to go. I mean, I don't know. I've got this i7 server that I use, and I mean, it says it's an i7, but the processor's 7 years old, which, I mean, that's old for a processor.
But it works fine for what it's supposed to.
It works fine for a server, but I've never put anything worth of load on it.
Yep.
So who knows?
Charles says you need a setting to limit the voices that can wake them. Yeah, you can change the word. You can get away
There's
with
only
that.
like 5 options, though. There's not a lot.
A lot of people use computer instead of the A word.
Yeah.
Computer, play rap.
Yeah, there you go.
But I mean, Apple is still selling computers with dual cores as very expensive laptops, even.
Yeah,
That's true.
Amazing.
All right,
So
guys.
we'll see.
Time to go.
I mean, time
Get
to
'em
go.
back.
I mean, we can stay and talk if you want to, but I want to end the recording. So, anything else show-wise that you want to add anywhere?
No.
We're good.
All right. All right. So, thanks, everybody. And good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie, and Donna. Thanks, everybody, for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive and update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. And while you're at it, like us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Tonight, it's 7, This evening at 7, Nick Craig hosts Against the Norm on Wilmington Big Talker 106.7. Listen on TuneIn. See you later.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Telestream's Wirecast software, StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.